one came tonight because it's my first time speaking, huh? Quality assessment, QA. Does anybody know about those? Or not know about it?
Lab staff knows about those very well.
You want to share?
No.
No? Okay. The purpose is to improve accuracy, reliability, efficiency, and quality of our laboratory activities and test results. Okay? Our goals, to evaluate the effectiveness of our laboratory policy and procedures, identify problems or potential problems, and make corrections to prevent them from happening again. So our goal is, once we identify it, we get the education out and hope that it doesn't happen again. We want to assure accurate, reliable, and prompt performance of tests and reporting the results. Improve our overall quality and efficiency of the labs, and provide excellent patient care and safety. What constitutes a QA? Any error made on during a lab test. We have some phases. We have the pre-analytic, which is the process that occurs before the test begins. Okay. Some of those examples could be misidentification, and then analytic, the process that occurs during testing or related to the test performed. This could be, during the draw, the specimen hemolyzes. And then post-analytic, processes that occur after testing is performed. Didn't spin it down correctly, didn't freeze it, didn't send it on ice, wrong, Historically, we focus on anything that requires a redraw. So we changed that up, and so today, we want to focus on our entire lab strengths and areas of improvement at each clinic. Who can identify QA? Anyone can. A provider, supervisor, medical assistant, front office, lab staff, and of course our outside resources. Okay? What starts the process of QA? Well, identification of a lab error. During any of those three phases that we listed, the pre-analytic, analytic, and post-analytic. Okay? Who starts the process for QA? Well, you can contact the Heartland Back Lab for guidance, either by the phone, 4101, or you can flag the lab desktop. I guess I need to get your way so you can see. I'm sorry. One process is the Heartland Lab may initiate the QA, or they'll have you initiate it. Okay? So we have two ways we can do it there. We ask that they keep the documents professional, pertinent, and objective. I've seen some notes come back and forth where I didn't do this. Well, that doesn't need to be in the patient's chart. The objective is I put the definition there, is free of bias, free of any bias or prejudice caused by personal feelings, based on facts rather than thoughts or opinions. Okay? How to start the process of QA? It's a two-step process. Step one, an EMR flag is sent to the QA coordinator, which is Lori Hine. Where Lori? She's hiding. And she'll begin the paper trail. Step two is a phone note is sent to the staff member who made the error, and their supervisor is CC'd on that flag, so that the corrective action can begin in a timely manner. Okay? I put here, it is the responsibility of the staff who made the error to notify the ordering provider as to why things are being delayed. Okay? It's identified. The QA coordinator will do the following tests. They'll utilize flags and collect data from the EMR and the lab DAC. Does anybody know what the lab DAC is? Everybody should know what that is. Okay. Two, they'll enter data into the QA electronic spreadsheet. Three, they'll complete the QA form. Four, they'll save an unsigned hard copy in the QA binder. And then they will electronically send a copy to the appropriate supervisor. It then will arrive at the supervisor's doorstep. The supervisor will research and discuss findings with the employee involved. The document data in the following, this is kind of a tongue twister for me, but it's what it is. On the QA form, it's the follow-up and documentation section of the form. So they'll document that data that they find in that form, in that section. They'll identify any trends with the process and identify if there's any trends with the employee. So if you've done a couple of things, more than once, the supervisor and employee will discuss the QA and sign the QA form together. And then the QA form sent back to the QA coordinator within 7 days after they receive it. Okay? And then it goes back to Lori. And then Lori will complete the QA spreadsheet in an electronic tracking system. So, conclusion. Lab QA tracking and training is reviewed with lab manager monthly. So John's going to review those. And then the education programs will be developed based on assessment of the trends identified. So after Lori has all that data together, we'll look at it and see where education is needed, and then starts educating and trying to improve the patient care. So, and then of course, let's do it right the first time. Any questions?
There's candy.
Does anybody understand why we're doing this?
Yeah.
Huh?
To prevent problems, prevent the patient to have to come back for a redraw, preventing.
Yes.
Cost effectiveness.
It's also mandated by COLA.
Yeah.
So yes, we want to do this, one, to educate ourselves and be better, a better service to our patients. But just so you know, someone just say one day, let's do this. Okay. So, all right. No questions? Oh.
So it's basically not a write-up. It's a,
Well,
unless you keep doing it.
I want to ask Ms. Belling to actually share, add to this, but it's not a write-up. But if you consistently do the same thing over and over and over, it becomes, remember, can you go back to the trend? The employee shows trends. Right here, I think identify the trends with the process and identify with the employee. So if you have a trend of doing, the same thing,
Yeah, I know, but a lot of people were freaking out about the QAs because they were thinking it.
the QA is a tracking system for COLA, but it's an education system for us.
Right.
I'm the type of person, if I know that I did something wrong, I find a way to share that for someone else so they don't make a mistake.
Right.
It's a process improvement objective. That's the objective, right? But if we take the time to identify the process improvement, improve the process, work with you to make sure that you understand what they are, which is what we try and do here or individually with you when there's an error. but the error keeps continuing to happen. When we've done all that education, we're probably going to come back to you with a trend and start the disciplinary process at that point.
Yeah, we haven't really came back with the follow-up, but we have to move to that next step. So.
And I would just add that we put away the principal's power to purchase.
Right.
And that's not the goal.
Right.
I think it's important that we note that I think we continue to see errors because we haven't done a really good job in following up and providing that continued education to you guys. So this is a commitment for us to identify trends. So what areas are all employees struggling with, right? And we know that we need to make some improvements there. And then maybe we have a handful of employees that maybe something was missed in their training or whatever. We're going to look at all of that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be disciplined right away. We're going to try to identify how did we miss the mark in the first place. But then sometimes, like I can be sometimes, people can be a little bit dense, and at that point we need to realize that we need to be accountable too, right? And make the change, and or you end up eventually in some sort of disciplinary activity. Okay?
I can tell you all that from January to March, the first quarter was quite high. The second quarter has started out great and is not nearly as bad as the first. So there's already been improvement. Further action.
And that's especially noted because, as Ron pointed out, we have historically only done QAs on things that need to be redrawn. Now we're doing QAs on any error in the process, all the way from start to finish. So we're evaluating more things and writing up more things, and you guys are decreasing. So that really is outstanding. I mean, you guys give yourselves a pat on the back for that.
Okay.
Bonus candy.
More candy. All right. So, ready?
Yep.
Quiz. What is the purpose of a QA? Anybody raise your hand?
We just won.
Penny.
Track errors, we'll call it. Paper trail.
Paper trail? Okay. Well, okay. It's to improve our accuracy, reliability, efficiency, and quality of our laboratory activities and lab tests. Give them a small test. Alright. What are our goals for our QA? Charlene? Okay. Some mistakes? Okay. Anyone add to it? April?
Oh, to educate, to continually educate us and reduce errors.
Outstanding. Okay. Today, what do we want to focus on at each clinic?
Strengths.
Our strengths. Yes. I heard
Who
that.
said that? Who said that? Me. The strong one. The strong.
Who can identify a QA?
Anyone.
Chris, raise your hand.
Anybody.
Anybody? Okay.
Oh, Chris. Chris.
Chris, what starts the process of QA?
An error.
Well, give her a small peek. It's identification of an error.
Did she say making an error?
No, she said a flag. Okay. Well, there's another page. We'll go ahead. The document needs to be 3 parts.
Are we looking? Oh, are you asking me the question?
The document, when you make a document, it needs to be
What kind of a document?
professional, pertinent, and objective.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, you mean like when you do a phone note or
Yeah.
a document in the
But
EMR?
really that's with anything when you enter into a phone note.
Right.
It is that. How many steps are there to start a QA? 2. Outstanding. What is the name of the desktop for the Heartland Lab? Okay. True or false? Lab QAs are not tracked and trended.
False.
Right. True or false? Education programs will be developed as needed for QA.
True.
All right.
We paid attention.
I just lay right there to.
Can I swap?
All right. That was great.
Is that good? Okay.
Any other questions?
Ron, any questions?